Our next speaker is Faiaz, and he's from Global Policy and Strategy, and the talk is entitled Casting Votes, Shaping Futures.
I'm here today to talk about two things that most people in this room take. They often don't have the opportunity to go to school. And even if they have the right to vote, they often cannot exercise that right. There are many reasons why, but one often overlooked yet critical reason is voting technology. Now picture this. You are a farmer in rural India, and you never had the opportunity to go to school, so you don't know how to read or write. If elections are held with paper ballots, voting becomes a challenging task for you. Paper ballots often require you to read, understand the information on paper, and follow instructions, all of which are challenging for someone who doesn't know how to read or write. That is why often paper ballots discourage people like this farmer to participate in the democratic process. To human error. It also lends to many other opportunities for corruption in developing countries. So I was interested in investigating whether introduction of electronic voting machines or EVMs could lead to better democratic representation. And I specifically looked into India. India introduced EVMs between the years 2001 and 2005. And when I looked into the data, I found that introduction of EVMs actually led to significantly less invalid votes. This is because EVMs make voting really easy. It's as simple as clicking a button. And there are pictures of each candidate beside each button. It can even read aloud the name of the candidates. So you don't need to know how to read. Invalid votes impossible. Second, I also found it decreased voter fraud or corruption. One example why is because EVMs automatically make counting easy and automatic, so there are no chances of corruption. And finally, I also found it made the turnout of poor and marginalized people significantly higher compared to previously. This is because, again, voting became a much easier process. Poor people were more likely to get elected. So I was interested into seeing if this actually led to more goods for the communities, specifically public schools. And I found that it actually led to more public schools being built and more kids getting educated in India. So why should you care about all this? I think taking all this together, what it says is that democracy does really work, especially when we include everyone in it. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. All right, you ready for the questions?
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about someone who has had an impact on your life.
I was thinking about this, and I think I'm going to say my dad. So I grew up in Bangladesh, and my dad was in the army back home. And even though that might seem like he was in the military, but I think he was a very intellectually curious person. And ever since I can remember, he used to bring newspapers and books home. And I loved, like just getting into them, reading them. And so I think he really helped me become more curious about the world.
It's really inspiring. Be very proud of you, right?
I hope so. I hope he's watching.
Well, say hi. What is your favorite way to recharge?
Again, I think this is common, but I love sleeping. So when I'm really tired, my favorite way of recharging is just sleeping. Yeah, but if it's like daytime, I love going outside just for a walk, and that also helps me recharge.
Walking like in the city or walking in nature?
I would love to be like, near the beach or nature, but I think most of the times now it's just grad housing. So just walking around grad housing.
Walking on the other side of the street. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. It's pretty over there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you could create a new campus tradition, what would you create?
This is a tough one. I think I'm going to say something like a role reversal day. So what that means is when I was in high school, we had this tradition in my high school where once a year, the students got to teach the class and the teachers actually sat in the classroom.
Okay.
So they reversed their roles. For a huge university, of course, that's more challenging, but I can imagine especially for grad students where the class sizes are smaller, we can maybe have that. And I think it's a great way for the students to get a perspective of what it feels like someone who's teaching. And for teachers, maybe it's a good perspective to what it feels like sitting in those chairs as students.
Would you want to role reverse with me? It's fun.
Your job seems really hard, but maybe.
All right, let's talk about that later.
Yeah.